Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Main Event Interviews. My name, of course, is Main Event, and today we're visiting with Happy Money Man. How's it going?
Doing fantastic. How you doing today?
I am doing great as well. It's another beautiful day, and I'm happy to be chatting with you.
Yeah, another day in paradise, in Steam Paradise here. Doing good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell us about yourself a little bit. Where in the world are you this evening?
Well, I'm in a beautiful part of the world in Central California. I'm in Santa Cruz Mountains. I'm actually out about 10 minutes from the beach, tucked kind of deep in the redwood forests, and it's just a beautiful spot. So life's good out here right now.
Awesome, that's great. And so, how long have you been on Steemit?
I started Steemit in June of this year, so I'm pretty recently on. I fell in love with it pretty quickly, so I've been posting daily since I started. I try to take weekends off just to give myself a little electronics break, but aside from that, I'm grinding on it and I'm loving it. So, yeah, about 2 months.
That's a great idea. I need to do that. I try to do that on the weekends too, but I find myself still looking at it on my phone. So
I know it's hard. I actually didn't get the phone out because I'm like, okay, I got to set it down for a second. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm guilty of it for sure. You said so you're really enjoying the platform. Was there something in particular that brought you to Steemit? How did you find out about it?
I found out kind of in a roundabout way. I'm a really curious learner, and I've been listening to podcasts and keep podcasts up as much as possible. I was trying to get into cryptocurrency and figuring out all the different ways that I could be a part of it. And I heard, I think on the Bitcoin podcast or someone mentioned the Steem coin. I started looking at the Steem coin, found Steemit, and then once I found out what it was, the next day I hopped on and I've been going for it ever since.
That's awesome. And what types of things do you write about on Steemit?
Well, I had recently started a blog and I wrote for a local newspaper, so I kind of had my vision started for what I wanted to do. So it was kind of easy for me to transition to Steemit. But my original website and everything was called Happy Money Man, Get the Most Happy for Your Buck. And I was looking how to spend money effectively to get the most happiness out of every dollar we spend. How much happiness can we actually get out of it so that we're not, blowing money and not getting any happiness for it, and not being super frugal and being, kind of restrained in that way. So I've been along that thought process with my blog and with the newspaper. And so then when I found Steemit, I transitioned straight into it, started doing the same thing. Changed the tagline, obviously. Now it's all about get the most happy for your Steem, but it's still kind of the same thought. Like, how do we get happy? How do we live life to the fullest? How do we experience everything that's out there? And now I'm so interested in cryptocurrency. I've got a lot of cryptocurrency flavor to it. And then most recently, I've been thinking about how to bring minnows, which I'm a minnow myself, but bring more minnows and help educate and help us all kind of build together. So it's been kind of this, now I'm thinking more in a group setting, how to build a team to make the bottom level of Steemit kind of support the top, or vice versa.
That's awesome. So I just want to recap on your whole getting the most happiness out of your Steem concept. I think that's really cool. That's an interesting way to look at your finances that I guess I didn't really think of it in that way before. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and just kind of go a little further on that topic? I just think that's really interesting, that whole, because I was thinking about it myself and I'm like, that does make sense because it's not really about not spending money. I mean, you might spend $100 on something, but if it made you happy, right, and you got a lot of happiness out of it, well, maybe that's okay, right? Is that kind of what you mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. It's we all have our different levels of income and how much we can spend, but it really doesn't take that much to make us happier, to find that base level of happiness that everyone's kind of searching for. And so my information is about finding that. One of my most recent posts was Life Lessons from the World's Wisest Woman. And in that, it's just this poem about this 85-year-old lady, and she's looking back on her life, and she's like, she's just saying, I wish I would have been more, outgoing. I wish I would have danced more. I wish I would have picked more flowers. I wish I would have done this. And it's kind of this living in the moment poem. So that's an example of things. And I did a whole kind of video around it. I posted videos that are edited, and that is a good example. But as far as getting the most happy for what we do, it's an important part because there's no real reason to make money or go out and grind and work so hard to get this money if we're not enjoying it? So I'm looking at the other end. How do we enjoy what we have as much as possible and squeeze the most happy out of it? And on your note, what you said was that, if you spend this money, how much happiness do you get out of it? Something that I started doing, another one of my videos, it's about purchasing experiences. So instead of, say, going and spending that $100 and buying yourself new shoes, new jeans, and a new t-shirt and feeling all cool for, a half hour the first time you wear it, you take that $100 and you take your wife or your significant other or one of your friends out to dinner or out to a show and out to experience life, maybe out to a play or something like that. The beautiful thing that I've kind of discovered about what I'm calling them as experience gifts is that they last a lot longer. So if you spend that $50 and you buy yourself something or you give a gift, that person's going to have that 30 seconds of joy when they open the gift, and then it's kind of going to be over. But if you spend that $50 and say you give them a ticket to a play or the theater or a museum or somewhere to go that they like, they've got that same 30 seconds of joy when they open it, but then they've got a couple weeks of build-up where they get to enjoy thinking about, like, oh, I'm going to go on this cool trip. And then they actually have that day where you go and you experience that day with them, and then they have a lasting memory. So that's just kind of a prime example of how to squeeze more happiness out of the money if you actually think about what you're doing with it intentionally.
And I really, really like that. I think that sounds, it's brilliant, really. I don't know how else to say it. That makes a lot of sense, and I really I'm going to have to check out your work and definitely read up on that. That's really neat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, it's I'm having a great time because, like I said, I was writing for the local newspaper and kind of getting these thoughts out there. But the beautiful thing about the Steemit platform is that kind of as I have these thoughts on a daily basis, I can just get them into video form. I can do a cool edit that is fun to watch and it's quick to watch. And I can just get kind of chunks like that. Like that's what I just went through. Like right there would be an example of just one day's video I would edit, into a 2 or 3 minute quick piece. Someone could check it out and just have a cool tidbit, an idea of something, because I've really dedicated the last 2 or 3 years to kind of finding my own happiness and how to, not be money centric, but be lifestyle centric and happiness centric. So I'm just trying to get all these thoughts that I've got in my head all built up, just trying to get them out to my friends. And that's what's so cool about Steemit too, is I bounce these ideas off people and people comment on my videos and give me really cool ideas of other angles I didn't think of. And then it'll spur me on to make another video the next day. So that's how it builds momentum too. The nice cool thing about Steem is all the positive feedback that comes through.
That's what happened to me as well when I first joined. When I first joined, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to even write about. I mostly joined because I was following a few other people, and then I realized, well, okay, I'm on here, so I kind of got to write something too, I guess. I tried a few different things, and I eventually stumbled upon my photography, because I had done photography a little bit, and then so once I started sharing that, I started getting all this feedback, and I started interacting with more people, and then that just led me on the journey to everything I'm doing right now, including talking to you, because I started interacting with more users, and it just, it kind of snowballed onto this now. So Steemit is definitely fascinating. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And on that point you said there, like your photography is a great example because it's something creative that you kind of probably had in your back pocket for some time, but didn't necessarily, I don't know if you had an outlet that was sufficient for you.
No, not at
all. For me, I've had these thoughts in my back pocket, and I've been just studying all this stuff, but nowhere to put it. And then all of a sudden, Steemit came out, and I'm just like, throw it online, like as it just comes out. And did you experience that, or how'd you experience that with your photography?
I just tried sharing some that I had taken in the past, and I had only ever used my phone too. Like I didn't even have a fancy camera or anything, but I had managed to get some pretty nice photos because I live in a really scenic area and everything, so I can get some really nice nature stuff. And so, people started being like, wow, that's really good, and you should do more. And so it kind of inspired me to want to do more, and which in turn, got me outside, and it got me doing more things like that outdoors as well. So far for me, overall, it's created more positive experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. That's one of the real interesting, inspiring parts of the platform, is that it not only is it a place to kind of give your own ideas out there, but it's in a place that you receive stuff back, you get inspiration back from it, and you get a creative outlet, which adds a lot of quality to life to people. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about Steemit. I'm actually having a barbecue with my neighbor later today, and he's been taking pictures for years. He's like a photographer, he just loves it, but he never posts them, never does anything with them. He just takes them, and I can't wait. Today I'm going to tell him about Steemit and be like, hey man, I found a spot. People are going to appreciate all that work you've been doing. So it is a cool spot for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if if they're, I wouldn't want to call them an amateur photographer, but I mean, if they're not somebody who's got a website and a business and all that stuff already, but they just truly enjoy taking photography, it's a great place to just put up some really nice shots for people and tell the story too. Encourage him to do this. If he's going to put pictures on there, he should write about what happened when he took them, because it takes those posts to the next level, and those are the little tips I like try to give other users, is things that I find along the way. Those of you listening out there tonight, definitely help other users when you see them posting things and you're like, man, if they had only formatted their post a little better, or if they had just done a few little, extra things, it would have made that post that much better. Feel free to let them know that. Don't you agree that positive, or, well, feedback in general, as long as it's actual feedback, is a good thing? Oh
yeah, absolutely. I love feedback. I've had a couple things that I've changed. Just recently, I changed my background. I took it down, but I had a background up because we got those new background banners, and it had a lot of white in it. And you couldn't read my writing and so Carl Fuchs actually sent me a message, said, hey, you can't read your background. And so it's nice. It's not a criticism necessarily. It's picking each other up. So I think it's great to give people feedback.
Yeah, and your friend, hopefully you're in the game already, so you can really help that person start off on the right foot with Steemit. And I wish I had that. I know when I first joined, I didn't have any idea what I was doing, and I just had to kind of learn for myself. And thankfully, I went in a pretty good direction, and I've reached out to a lot of people, and we've talked, and it's great. And so hopefully your friend will have a great start with you helping them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a question for you, maybe. Tactically speaking, what are you finding is your best way to post photos? How many do you post, and how big of message are you finding success with?
My photo posts, I mean, I'm not getting, like $100 posts or anything, but I find as long as you're putting up, the biggest thing is you have to have your first photo needs to be the best. And it also has to look the best as a thumbnail. That's the other really important thing, because obviously when you look through Steemit, you're only able to see the feed, right? And you only get that small little preview image. And I know myself, when I look at that, that's the first thing my eyes go to, is that picture. And so I know that I think that I do best when I have a really nice first photo for sure. And then beyond that, it really depends, because of course in that category you have, the simple color challenges where people just post maybe 1 or 2 pictures at the most, because it's kind of a contest almost sort of thing, or a challenge, like post a picture every day that's got, a different color as the majority, is what the point of those ones are. So those types of posts, you don't really need to put a lot of stuff into necessarily, because they're serving a different purpose. But if you're doing like a nature post, let's say, and you're featuring like an animal or a place that you went to, like a special, like some place, and you take all kinds of pictures of it and everything, you want to definitely go into detail and show, talk about why you were there and what happened. And the other thing I would recommend to your friend is to definitely put your name on the pictures, of course, and definitely make sure that you post in there that they are his original pictures. So, do you know other people on Steemit, really? Do you have like family and friends on there, or is it mostly all people you don't know?
It's mostly all people I don't know. I don't have my wife. I just got onto Steemit about maybe 10 days ago. So she's a new Steemit user. I'm stepping her through how to interact and everything, and she's doing great. She's loving it. But aside from her, she's the only one that I personally know on here. But I have gotten to know a lot of people on here, which is fun. On the note of my wife, her title is Life Moved by Steam, and what she posts about is our homestead. We've got a garden, we've got some birds, quail, and we're trying to see how much of our food we can produce for home. So that's her little area of expertise that she really puts a lot of time into. So her post's been doing nice also. It's been fun to watch her get involved, and it's nice because her angle fits in with what I'm doing. I'm talking about how to spend money most effectively for the most happiness, and she's, on the other hand, bringing this food that we're growing ourselves and this homestead and kind of bringing it all full circle. So we're kind of from two different angles finding happiness, but together it's a good scene. And some of my favorite people on Steemit that I've met so far, one is at Scrooger. He is a great character. He runs some games, and he's been working on some bigger programs with Steemit. And then Crypto Hustlin' is one of my other friends on here, and he has been doing some interesting things as well, doing some advertising. He's got some posts where he's taking all the upvotes that he receives and putting them into Steemit advertising, so trying to work for the greater good of the platform. So those are two of the interesting contacts that I've made on here.
Yeah, and I think that whole process is pretty fascinating too, don't you? About how it's weird how it's taking the users to advertise for the platform. Maybe that's smart business, I guess. Make them do the work, I guess. But it's great to see that. I know I'm happy to see when those kind of posts come through of people promoting Steemit. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do in my own way is, explain to the greater base, why people are joining. And so that gives people reasons for when they're telling their friends or family why to join Steemit. They can be like, oh, well, this guy joined and such happened, or this girl joined and that happened for them. Good things, And so I'm hoping that will help out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is really an interesting angle. Actually, now that we're on that topic, my last two posts yesterday, 2 days ago and yesterday, were regarding, one was a Steemit commercial. I actually went out and made a full-on, a 3-minute little commercial for Steemit and YouTube, trying to attract some of the YouTube users over to YouTube. And so that was one of my most successful posts so far. But that's along those lines of the users are now doing are incentivized to do the commercials or to do the marketing for our platform. This is our platform. There's no Steemit Inc. out there who's going to come and do it for us. It's up to us to kind of go out and do what you're doing and get involved and go out and make commercials like I did yesterday and put them up. And if we recruit enough people and we hit that tipping point where we start to get more adoption, then it's better for all of us. So it's really in our best interest. And then the video that I posted yesterday after the commercial, because I got a lot of feedback, questions about the commercial, I posted 3 ways that you can help Steemit now, and that's along that whole thought of it's up to us. It's not, there's no one going to take care of us. There's no one going to do it for us. We're on Steemit and it's ours. Essentially, all of us are part of a startup right now. It's up to you and it's up to me to see what we can do today to make sure more people know about Steemit and get more people on the platform. So 3 ways, let's see if I can remember them. I think the first one was to just personally invite a friend. Just go get someone tell them about Steemit and be like, hey, you know what? This can benefit you. Check it out. And that's what I'm going to go do tonight at my barbecue with my buddy. He's a good example. The second way was just to go to Crypto Hustlin's advertising page where he's taking all the upvotes and advertising. Bare minimum, people can go there and give 100% upvote and make sure that those advertising dollars are going out. And then third thing people can do, this is the one that's really interesting, is if you want to just kind of get crazy and do something big for the platform, if there's some way that you can contact an influencer, I think that's pretty important to get some of these big users like Jerry Banfield. If we got another Jerry Banfield on the platform, that would be huge. And when you think about the degrees of separation and if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who's got 1 million followers on YouTube, then see if you can get them a message and let them know about Steemit. So there's some ways that people, just your regular people like me, can try to help grow the platform.
Definitely. I encourage anybody listening out there, and of course these things are just our opinion, you don't have to do anything, but if you want to try to help the Steemit platform, take the initiative and try to do something if you want, and I'm sure whatever you do, as long as it's a positive message, will help out the platform. I certainly want to see it grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's one of the main kind of underlying concepts that, myself embrace and let new users know that they should be embracing. Like, it's all about authenticity. It's all about being open and honest and, acting in a positive manner, like the spam posting, the 1,000 bot upvotes, the things like that are just not really in the, what's good and what's not. And the things that aren't straight, just stay away from them. They'll be out there, but do your thing and be authentic. And that's what's going to pay off in the end.
Absolutely. And I find taking the time to curate other people's content is crucial too. I think, you can't just be, a lot of people are focusing too much on their own content and their own page and their own Steam power and all these things. And if they would just take the time to go read some other content and actually, comment and leave genuine good comments, they could be getting, I commented on a few posts and I was getting, $4 or $5 upvotes for leaving nice comments on a page, and so some people forget about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And there's some users who don't even really post that much of their own original content. They are curators, and that's a whole other end of the game that is that's really important. So people don't have to necessarily feel like I got to come on here and produce all this content on a daily basis. There's really successful curators who are just genuinely curious people. They're out there reading interesting articles, leaving well thought out comments that are authentic, and they're getting paid in that way too. So there's multiple ways to be a part of the platform, and that's another kind of cool aspect to think about. You can just be curious and comment and get paid for it.
Definitely, and that's another bonus point if you're trying to talk to your friends or family about joining Steemit. It's kind of been the theme of the interview so far, and it's not a bad thing though, because we need to get this thing growing, and I think it's doing well so far. It seems we kind of have plateaued a little bit, it feels like, but I think we are still trending upwards.
Absolutely, and I think that the DTube may give us a little boost. We are having, the fact that there's a lot of people posting videos out there, posting them to YouTube, can now just hop over and post their content over to DTube. Could give us a decent boost, so that's interesting to see. So yeah, I think we'll have some tough times ahead of us, but it's a beautiful platform. It's nice to be a part of it, regardless.
So you've been using that new video service. I have not tried that yet. What's been your opinion on that so far?
You know what? It's nice. Actually, the video I'm going to post today is what is DTube, so I've kind of got my thoughts in order about it. So the user interface is the same as YouTube. They intentionally copied YouTube because that's one of the most beautiful user interfaces out there. That's why 1 billion people use YouTube, is because it's epic. The problem with YouTube has become that it has a central authority which essentially means there's some censorship, there's some monetization issues, and so long run, to get away from that, that's the main difference between DTube and YouTube, is that DTube is attached to the Steemit blockchain. It essentially is an app that works with Steemit. And so what you can do is you can just use your same Steemit account, you go to DTube and you upload your videos there. They show up in your Steemit feed and on the DTube website, 2 separate websites, but they share the same comment stream and they share the monetary. So if you upvote someone on Steemit, it shows up on DTube and it's available in your Steemit account. You comment on either of them, they show up on both accounts, but they're both they're both part of Steemit.
That's really fascinating. I was just sitting here listening. I'm like, wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that was out there yet. I had heard about it, but I really didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's what really kicked off, and it only came out 3 days ago. And it came out because people have been asking for it for a long time. Like, hey, we're all posting our videos on YouTube. What if YouTube kicks Steemit off? What if they stop hosting all our videos? We need our own video host. And so people have been talking about it for a long time. And a developer in Europe somewhere, he just went about it over the last 6 months and built it and kind of surprised everyone with it. That's why no one had heard of it, and it just popped up out of nowhere a couple days ago. So that's what inspired my Steemit commercial, because my Steemit commercial is based on the 1984, the Apple commercial, the Apple versus PC commercial where they did the Super Bowl, a really famous commercial. But anyway, mine became Steemit versus YouTube, and our decentralized YouTube platform we have now versus the centralized kind of Big Brother YouTube platform. So it's kind of a fun video to make.
Yeah, that's definitely fascinating. I'm going to have to check those out for sure. And once again, if you're listening or you're just jumping in on the show, we're visiting with Happy Money Man. You can find him on Steemit under that name, Happy Money Man. Are there any other Steemit users out there that you'd like to talk about or give a shout out to? Maybe anybody that helped you out along the way, or any blogs that you really, really enjoy out there?
I would like to, the main shout outs I'd like to give would be to my wife. Her page is Life Moved by Steam. It's homesteading and it's that type of thing. And then Crypto Hustling, because I think that he's doing a lot to try to push for the minnows and bring the bottom up. And then to Scrooger, who's got his who's doing the same type of thing. So those are the three that I'd like to give a shout out to for sure.
Awesome. Now, what do you think about the whole new cover art? So you're the first person I've been able to talk to it about. Do you like that feature?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I wish that my thing would have worked out a little better, but yeah, it's great. It's great. I think that each of these little features that they improve over time, it helps the platform out. Every time the user interface gets a little bit prettier or a little bit easier to use, it makes it more user friendly, and then we'll have more, when people come here, they'll stay longer. So I love all those little improvements. It's just nice to see. They're small things, but a small improvement every day, it adds up to really big change. It makes me think of when I first started doing my videos. I look back 2 months ago, my first video was me sitting on my bed in my bedroom just talking at the camera, and then I talked to people. I added a different camera, then I added a gimbal, then I added a mic, and then a stabilizer, and then I was outside, and then all of a sudden I was editing. And so, little tiny things over time have a huge improvement. So when I see Steemit, even though it seems like a small thing, we have an improved banner. Those small things, a year from now, we're going to have an interface that's like starting to rival things like Facebook or. So in short, yeah, I think it's awesome that we have a new banner. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to utilize it, but yeah, I think it's great.
I completely agree with everything you said. That's exactly what I said when I first saw it. I said, bingo. That's the first step to the next level right there. Because, I said it in a post. I said, the blue box, it worked for a while. It was okay. And, but having an actual picture there that you can customize for your blog is going to be amazing, because the people that are creative out there will really utilize that to their full advantage and make their blog look awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. All those little chances to be creative are opportunities to kind of show our personality and each be individuals, and that's a good thing. That's a lot about what this platform's for and what it's about, is being ourselves, being individuals, seeing what other people are like, interacting with people, and so yeah, all that little creative ads that we get are fantastic.
I have seen a few posts out there of people explaining the banner thing, and what's worked for them, like as far as image sizes and stuff. So it's probably worth maybe doing a search or something, or I can try to send you one after the show. I think I've got one right in my feed. It looks like it works really well on a desktop. So if you're or a PC or whatever, if you're using a full-size screen, you can actually make the image really nice and big with like stuff on either end with your name in the middle, and it looks really, really nice. But when you go to mobile, that's, I guess, when you have issues, and it's sometimes if it's not wide enough, it will like tile it, it'll stack it on top of each other, and even if it's a big image, it's only going to show part of it because it's a mobile browser. So those little things, they'll probably fix that eventually, I'm sure. But for now, it looks like it's going to look one way on a desktop and probably a slightly different way on mobile. And if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat that's listening, feel free to comment and let us know if you know any workarounds for that, but that's what I experienced when I tried to do it.
Yeah, that's good information. And something I ran into was the writing's in white. So if you have a light background or any pictures that are a little bit confusing behind the writing, then it makes your writing pretty quickly unreadable. So That's what I ran into. I got it, one all edited up and threw it up there. I was all proud of it, but then you couldn't read the white writing over top of it. So that's something to take into account also. But
so overall, you have a positive experience with Steemit, right? And so what would you, if you're going to recommend it to anybody, what do you think you would say? What would be your selling point?
It's just an easy value proposition. You just say, like I'm going to do an example with my neighbor today. Hey, there's this platform. I know you use social media. You don't get paid for it. This is a place where people will appreciate the content that you have, and they'll appreciate the things. There's not trolls, and people are positive and they interact, and it's more like real life social media because there's accountability. And so that would be it. Is that there's a place where people will authentically appreciate your creativity. Come check it out.
Well, that's great. And any other parting words for our young minnows out there? Are there any words of advice you'd like to give them?
My words of advice are to be authentic, be yourself, let it shine through, smile, comment, leave posts if you want to. Just let your personality out and be yourself, because if you do that, Steemit's fun, and then the rest will just follow. So I would say, cheers, my Steem friends. Give me that steam I need to proceed.
Absolutely. So once again, everybody, that is Happy Money Man, coming to us from California here in the United States. Really appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you very much.
It was great to talk to you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.